Turning this thing on. Hope it's working. Knock, knock, knock. Is anybody there at all? I'll have a look in the comments actually and get ourselves started. Looks like we have a few people watching. I would just make sure that all this is working, and I'll just wait for everybody to sort of pop themselves in the comments. Hey there, Carlos. Nice to see you, my friend. Carlos, can you tell me if you can hear me and see me as well? Hey, Chris. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much. We'll just wait till a few people come in before we get started. I know you can watch this back anyway, even though it's live, but just to be nice, just to make sure that you can actually hear me. I've had a bit of a tech disaster with these live streams this week. So, hey, Hattie, this is going to go well. Oh, dear. Yeah, Chris can hear and see. Brilliant. I forget, actually, there's a little delay on Facebook. There's like a 10-second delay, I think. So it takes a little while. So, but yeah, this earlier this week, I don't know if anybody was at my like masterclass, live class on Tuesday. Hey, Lane. But yeah, it went, what's the word for it? Tits up, I think is the phrase. Oh, dear. But yeah, it was interesting. Webinar started, 3,000 people, 3,000 people registered. Quite a huge chunk of those 3,000 people all tried to turn up all at once, and we broke the system, which is good. You know, it's a little badge of honor, actually. I'm waiting for the badge of honor in the post. Managed to break the webinar system. Luckily, me and my team are professionals. And we had things set up, so we had a backup, which was awesome. So brilliant. Great stuff. I'm glad everybody can see us. Hi, Wendy. Hi there, Hal. Excellent. Nice to see everybody. Okay. Right, we're going to get going. We are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube as well. Fingers crossed. We'll see how this goes. I'll explain to you what's happening, and then we'll get cracking, because I want this to be fairly short, really. I hope everybody is well. The doors have opened to No Stress WordPress very briefly until next Monday, and so we have had, I can't remember what it is. It's like nearly 120 new students in just the last couple of days, and I just want to kind of take this opportunity. We've been getting lots and lots of questions from people, basically just wondering if the course is right for them. And I want to make sure that the course is definitely right for people. So thought it'd be a really nice opportunity just to pop on here, go live. I can explain a few things about the course, show you around, answer any questions that you pop into the comments. Nice and easy. This isn't any kind of sales pitch. It's literally just a chance for you to kind of see behind the scenes and for me to answer any questions that you might have. So let's get going. I have actually noticed we've already had a few questions, so I'm just going to answer some of the earlier ones before they get lost. So Alan was asking, will this work with Ocean WP? I've actually had a little message with Alan later on, so he knows the answer to this, but just in case anybody's wondering, the course is almost completely theme agnostic. So what that means is that as long as you're using the WordPress theme that is compatible with Elementor, so there's loads of them these days, you know, you have the Elementor's own Hello theme, Ocean WP, GeneratePress, Astra, the Page Builder framework, there's loads of them, then it's fine. What I've tried to do with this course is make it very much about the WordPress framework and how the page builder fits into that whole WordPress and theme framework. Version 1 of this course was very heavy on theme specific teaching, and it was one of those things I wanted to do with I've remade the course completely from scratch to version 2.0, and that was one of the things, really. It was very, very heavy on, you know, in depth on how to do things in GeneratePress, how to do things in Astra, how to do things in all these different themes. And this, fast forward 2 years since I made the first version, and things have changed. Elementor has come on in leaps and bounds. We now have the theme builder. A lot of the themes are now kind of much of a muchness. So it doesn't really matter. If you want to use Ocean WP, it's absolutely fine. Gasper is asking as well, hey man, do you also teach anything about page performance optimizing and the plugins that help? It's not a page speed and optimization course. I mean, it's kind of out of the scope of what the course is about, but I do make some recommendations all the way through. There is actually a page speed Q&A, like a bonus thing. So if I just try and find my bit on the screen, So it's I don't know if you can see there, but there's like a page speed bonus. This one here, like a big live call. It was about an hour and a half. But I also talk, when we're talking about setting up plugins at the beginning, the whole starter site thing, which I'll explain to you. I go into sort of recommended caching plugins, and there's quite a lot of talk of optimization and performance. And at the end as well, I'm actually going to add a little bonus course about NitroPack. I don't know if you've heard of NitroPack, but NitroPack is absolutely incredible. It is the most amazing page speed solution plugin I have ever seen. I mean, I literally, my site went from like, I've got quite a heavy page that I was testing. It went from like 2.5 seconds to 0.7 with 100% like all the way through. So so NitroPack is amazing. So I will be kind of having some extra stuff on that. So hope that helps. Kyle is out trick-or-treating. Well, hi my friend. Okay. Right then, let's see if we've got any other comments here. Brilliant. All right, so let's get going. So who am I? I'm Dave Foy. I created No Stress WordPress about 2 years ago now. And the reason I did is because I'd started teaching online. I started teaching non-coders how to use WordPress more efficiently, more effectively. And because it was for non-coders, I chose Elementor as my page builder of choice, which 2.5 years down the line, actually 3 years down the line since I chose Elementor as part of my teaching, I mean, that was a good decision. You know, well done, Dave. It was awesome, and it still is, and it still continues to be fantastic. So, but what I found is that just generally, just quickly, people you started to use Elementor because it is absolutely amazing, and then kind of suddenly ran into like a, oops, hang on, I've got to understand how WordPress itself works and the theme works and all this, how it all plugs in together, and have any kind of process and framework for building full websites. Tons of tutorials out there about how to build, you know, standalone fancy layouts, which is amazing. But you know, if you don't know how to put all of this together, you know, into a fully featured website that you deliver from beginning to end, and you can kind of sit in meetings with potential new clients and confidently say, yes, I can deliver what you're asking. I just saw this massive gap there, really, and it's nobody's fault, you know, but I thought I will make No Stress WordPress to fill that gap. So that's what No Stress WordPress does. It's become much more focused on Elementor in version 2. As I say, I have completely, in the last sort of 4 months, completely remade the entire course from scratch. So it is absolutely bang up to date. And yeah, it's there are some sections of the course that are like Elementor courses, you know, that's like an Elementor course all on its own, but it's still very much like the full, you know, the full part of WordPress. Lazzo here is asking just quickly, what WordPress theme do you use for the course? I actually use GeneratePress in the course because you've got to have a theme installed, but it doesn't matter. You know, it's not. I don't think the fact that it's GeneratePress makes any difference throughout the course, apart from a few brief moments in the customizer. But I also show how you can use that same, you know, all the themes customizers are kind of much of a muchness. Some features, some settings might be slightly different. I know Astra in their version 2 kind of changed the order of how they organize the customizer, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, and the course is really for people who are just, I mean, anybody. It can be for complete beginners. It can be for people who are kind of quite advanced and have been using WordPress for years and still don't really understand, you know, they've got where they are just by a bit of trial and error and trying things out and piecing things together. It might be that, you know, you're doing freelance web design. It might be that you're an agency. It might be that you're just a business owner wanting to build your own websites. We've got quite a few marketers who want to build landing pages and funnels and things like that. So that's the idea. Oh, hi, Bigot. Nice to see you. Always. Yeah, so let's quickly have a look at the page that you can find out all the details. I think I've got this linked up in the at the top of the page. This is at nostresswp.co. nostresswp.co. So if you want to find out more about the course, all the details, what's in it and everything else, then there's a lot of information on this page, I can tell you. So I will leave you to have a look at that, nostresswp.co. But I thought it'd be quite nice here to kind of show you the back end, and basically kind of show you what you get in the course, and then I can start to kind of answer some of your questions as well. So let's just come into the back end of the course here. All right. So when you enroll as a student, you get access to this online course platform, the Academy. We call it the No Stress WordPress Academy, and it's I get asked this loads of times. Probably half the questions on the masterclass that I ran a couple of days ago were all about what platform is the course on, which is obviously the most important question. It's on Thinkific. It's not run on WordPress at all, for various reasons. I just find running courses on WordPress just an absolute nightmare. So Thinkific is just brilliant. I pay one fee every month, which is cheaper than it would be to run it on WordPress. I don't have to pay for video hosting with Wistia because that's included. That's $100 a month saved, and yeah, it's just brilliant, and it always works, and I never have to update plugins or anything. So it is fantastic. Just quickly try and catch a few questions as we go. Juan is asking, hello, can we create any type of funnel with Elementor? Yeah, I can't think of a single kind of funnel that you couldn't build. There might be some of the more, maybe slightly more complex ones, you know, like some of the quiz funnel type things, but you can still get you can get add-ons, you can get there are various WordPress plugins for quizzes and stuff. So if you need landing pages, thank you pages, and you need a flow, then you can just do it all with Elementor. There are some tools that make it a little bit easier to hook everything together. So there's Cart Flows. Cart Flows is a brilliant add-on, which you can use with any theme really and any page builder, and it automates some of the connecting your different pages together in funnels, and it specifically, more than anything, kind of hooks up into WooCommerce. So it provides a much better WooCommerce experience if you are selling via WooCommerce. So but yeah, I've got another course, No Fear Funnels, which just teaches all of that stuff, but we don't kind of go into funnels specifically in No Stress WordPress. All right, so you get access to the control panel. Nice little tour here, which I'm not going to bore you with. So to start off with, you have the core program. I should say here, by the way, that you get lifetime access when you enroll. So the people who enrolled back in November 17, when I first launched version 1 of the course, Birgit here is one of those people. In fact, there's a few people here already, I think, who jumped in back then, and they all get, as you would if you enroll, lifetime access. So all the updates I make to the version 2, and then if I decide, and I'm more than doubtfully, you know, might do version 3 and 4 and 5, I don't know yet, but we'll see. But you would get access to those as well, completely for life. So it's not a bad investment. So when you first log in, you have the core program here. Now, the core program is actually made up of 2 separate courses. So the first one isn't No Stress WordPress at all. It's actually the Perfect Starter Site. And the Perfect Starter Site it's a mini course. I mean, I say mini course, it's still an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. But if I just click through, and we'll just have a look, we'll click on Start Course to pop in there. Hey, Tommy, good to see you, my friend. Nice to see you. Yeah, so we've popped into the Perfect Starter Site. So what this does is, my method, my philosophy is that until you've actually created yourself a starter site, you are going to be kind of, you're already slowed down, you're already, you know, working inefficiently. So the best thing is all about creating a default installation of WordPress that you have that lives somewhere permanently. Could be on your own computer, I'll show you that. It could be on your hosting package, I'll show you that as well. And then with that fresh installation, you set everything up perfectly. Hey, Gary, you set everything up perfectly. So all the kind of like the WordPress settings, all the kind of optimizations, the theme, and all to do with sort of setting up child theme if you need one at all, and centralized color palette, and you built in templates and all that kind of thing. and also a set of various plugins that you set up in the starter site, all ready to go, all with, you know, like licenses for the pro versions and all that kind of thing. So we go in the course through installing and setting up Elementor the right way, because there is a right way and a wrong way. And the right way makes it easy. The wrong way makes your life really, really hard. And then go through in each of these lessons. The lessons in the starter site are honestly like 5 minutes, 8 minutes, really not very much at all. We go through sort of security, anti-spam, backups, migration, SEO, image compression, page speed. And there is even a, where we go. There's even a nice little cheat sheet as well that you can download, which kind of goes through all of the steps. So the idea is to do that first. That starter site is then, wow, I mean, you've already saved yourself tons of time. What happens then is that you jump into No Stress WordPress, which is the main course. And the main course here is split up over 7 modules. So I think the running time of the entire course, we added it up the other day, in total, which sounds quite frightening actually, is about 12 to 14, no, 12 hours. I think it might be 11 or 12, which sounds like a lot, but each of the modules actually is very, very kind of easy and I don't know, just organized in such a way that it's just very, very, very logical and makes sense, like step by step, you know, all the way along. No one's asking, are we live? Yes, we are, my friend. We are live. Well, I am anyway. I don't know about you. So yeah, it starts all the way from the very, very beginning, from your starter site. You know, you're starting a new site for a client or yourself or whatever. What do you do all the way from beginning to end? So the modules kind of build step by step logically. It's like a progression that follows. And what I'm trying to do, I'll go through what we actually teach in a moment. But the whole concept really of this course is that, I mean, YouTube is full of videos kind of showing you how to do this, how to do that, how to do the other, and it all, which is great. But the problem is that a lot of the time they're only teaching you how to do that one thing in that one situation, which again is great if you're in that one situation. But, you know, as a web designer, as a web developer, there's no way that every project is going to have the same requirements, you know, the same functionality, the same constraints, the same challenges. There's just no way. So what I'm trying to teach you, it's a little bit of the difference between, you know, like either give a man a fish or teach a man to fish, or a woman. It matters not. Um, so whereas a lot of kind of fragmented one-off YouTube videos are very much about giving you the fish. It's like, here's how to do this thing. There you go. Then that's great. But this is more trying to actually give you the concept and the framework and the understanding of how all of this WordPress theme, Elementor, various plugins, and everything else kind of like all fits together. Hey there, Claire. Hey, Robert. Wow, scary. So you can't really see it. Nice little emoji, Claire. All right. So yeah, so that it kind of builds up very, very logically. So we start off at the top. Apart from a brief introduction, module 1 is pretty straightforward. I'm actually just going to just zoom in slightly as well so that you can see. Each of the lessons is basically a video. So although I said like the entire running time of the whole of this course is about 12 hours, please don't think you have to sit, you know, and watch that whole 12 hours, because that is daunting. It's not the way to do it. I am personally a fan of breaking it down into just bite-sized pieces. I know a lot of students who have had brilliant success with this course who put aside 15 minutes a day, you know, and who hasn't got 15 minutes? You can pop in, you can do 15 minutes, and then that's your job done for the day. I think sometimes that's better because it sticks, because it's got time to, you know, to kind of stick in your brain. Some people like to just Netflix binge the lot, you know, it's just like boom, 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 go through the whole thing and then go back and then kind of take it a bit slower and start to implement things. I'm a bit like that, to be honest. I'm kind of like, I want to see what the ending is before I do anything about it. So, but we're all different. So I've tried to organize the course so that it kind of suits all kinds of learning styles. Focus very, very much on it being massively engaging. The whole thing behind it. I mean, there's some things in here actually. Let's have a look in. Like, I'm skipping ahead to module 2. I just know that there's something. Let me just turn myself down. There you go. There's this guy. It looks like a nice fella. But it's very kind of, it's meant to be very kind of engaging. You know, there's a lot of sort of slides and things to watch and animations and I don't know if you can actually see what's going on here, but there's like a little page pops out of the WordPress factory. It's not, I mean, you know, if you're an animation buff, this is not going to impress you. but but yeah, there's just try to kind of use animation and me on camera sometimes, and then sometimes, you know, I kind of flick over to WordPress itself. And I like to think that, you know, it is not just me sat in front of the computer just droning on and on and on at you, because that personally wouldn't capture my attention and make me want to learn. So there is also, so although there's a video, let's get rid of that. Although there's usually a video to watch, sometimes as well underneath there are like extra tips and sometimes like certain links to certain resources that I mentioned. Sometimes there are what do I call them? Lesson materials. We haven't got any on here, but lesson materials, you know, like sort of downloads or cheat sheets or templates or images or I don't know, all that kind of thing. So there are all kinds of resources. I'm actually adding more and more of them as we go along as well. So, but the idea basically is that, you know, you sit your bum in the seat or stand up like I'm doing, and you just watch. I always give you at the end of most of the lessons something to do as well. So they'll always be at the end. They always follow the same structure. Always kind of at the end. It's like, right, now you to do this, and often encourage you to sort of share that in our private Facebook group and stuff like that as well. So the setup is basically, right, all right, so you've got a new client, you need to start off, what do you do? So it's about taking the starter site that you made in the previous little mini course, the perfect starter site mini course, and then where do you start from there? How do you actually get going? So we actually create the development site from the starter site. Some basic stuff really, adding the logo, but just in the right way, in the right format, so that it's just crisp and sharp and easy to maintain. And then we set some brand styles. So set brand styles for the entire site globally, just to make sure that they are easy to maintain. You know, all of your theme content, if you use the theme, all of Elementor, if you use Elementor, will all take on those brand styles automatically. And the way that we do it means that you're not going to have Elementor fighting with its styles and your theme fighting with its own styles. We kind of get rid of all that nonsense and time wasting stuff. All right, so that's module 1. Module 2 is the framework. Whether I can zoom in there, no. So in module 2, it's about now building. So in module 1, you've got a solid foundation. So now module 2 is about excuse me, is about building that kind of frame of the site. So we create in the first lesson, actually this first lesson in module 2 is one of the only lessons that actually isn't very practical. It's the only one that's kind of like quite, you know, conceptual and not actually just getting things done and getting your hands dirty. But this concept of, let me just see if I can come through to a bit that we're talking about. Yeah. Let me see. I'm not going to play the video because it'll just take too long. But I spend just a bit of time. It's about 12 minutes this lesson, just explaining that whole thing right up front about templates. Your theme templates, Elementor templates, what on earth it's all about, why you would use them. So if I just click through like quickly, it just kind of breaks it down for you, you know, exactly. I mean, hopefully you can see that on the stream. It just breaks down exactly what is going on in a way that it would just be impossible to you know to not understand how it all fits in. How when you sort of switch different templates. So here at this bit, I don't know if you can see my mouse. When you're choosing default template or full width element or full width or element or canvas, you know what what does that mean, basically? So yeah, we create the nav menu first. There's a reason for that, but I won't go into it just now. But design the header is where well, actually, this one is one of the lessons where we actually have it in two parts. So part one is what should you build your header with? Should you build it with your theme? Should you build it with Elementor? And there are some significant pros and cons of both those approaches. So we go into both of those to help you make that decision. And then the next lesson, now this is one of the longer ones. This is one of the kind of beefier ones where this is 31 minutes 32, which I think is probably by far the longest lesson in the entire course. You can watch it in stages, but this is one of those where we're diving deep into Elementor itself. So actually using the Elementor editor, and how to basically be the boss of Elementor. So actually, I would say between this header lesson and then the other one here, the design the footer lesson as well, which I've broken this one down into 4 separate little chunks just to make it easier to achieve. But there is probably more Elementor workflow tips and tricks of the actually using Elementor itself in those 2 lessons, probably than there should be in an entire course based on that. So it really is at that point even like an Elementor masterclass. But by that point, you've built the framework. Module 3, the layout system. Now, as I said, I've been building this course over the last 4 months, 3-4 months, and I've had some students. Well, I've had all the version 1.0 students, the people who enrolled 2 years ago and a year and a half ago. They've all been taking, not all of them, but a lot of them have been taking the new version as I've been making it. And also I opened the doors really briefly a couple of months ago just for a few people, and probably about 100 new students who've just been waiting patiently on my waiting list. So they bought the course and they didn't get it for free, but I let them in, and their feedback has just been absolutely invaluable. Anyway, the point I'm getting to is that I actually finished the framework and started diving into actually building the content of the course. And just from 1 or 2 questions and 1 or 2 bits of feedback and things like that, I suddenly thought, this isn't actually meant to be a design course. Okay, so we don't go into font pairings, although I've got an idea for like a little bonus course that I'm thinking of adding, which just kind of touches on things like color choice, font pairings. It's not there yet though, so I can't promise that it's there, but if you enroll, you will get that as well, but when it's ready. But anyway, it's not a design course, it's more of a tech course. But I soon realized that it doesn't matter, even if it's not a design course, you still need to be able to confidently build layouts in Elementor that work. I mean, after all, why are you using Elementor at all if not to create layouts? And I realized that I'm teaching all the principles, but I was probably just kind of winging it a little bit, a bit of padding there, a little bit there. I have a system, that I tend to follow, but it's not really based on any deep thought or any kind of logical process, really. And based on questions, I thought, I bet there is actually a layout system. Well, I mean, we actually talk in this lesson to start off with, in this module, sorry, about the goal. So it's all about what characteristics do great looking layouts have? What is the end goal, in terms of design? That if we had a layout system in Elementor, like a series of settings and rules that we always follow, what should the end result be? What are we looking for? So in this lesson, we kind of go into some of the just classic designer things like alignment, stuff just lining up down the page so that it just looks aligned and neat, and it's just appealing to the eye. I was taught that many years ago by an amazing brand designer. The guy used to charge 30K for a logo. I kid you not. But he was brilliant. When I was a web designer full time working for clients, I used to do quite a lot of work for him, translating his designs onto the web, and he taught me a lot about just the value of alignment, just things lining up. consistency as well, consistency of gaps and padding between columns and stuff like that. And also like a really kind of generous use of space as well. A lot of amateur designers just tend to cram everything together, and Elementor's default settings tend to encourage that, I find, as well. So the idea was, let's come up with a system. So start off with by actually talking about Elementor's own columns gap setting. If you use Elementor, and I think you have, then you probably know when you add a section, you can set the columns gap for all the columns in that section. And but it's fair to say I don't like columns gap. I don't like the way that Elementor decided to create the gaps between columns at all, just for various reasons. There are quite a lot of knock-on problems that it causes if you don't know what's going on. So this lesson explains it all, explains exactly how Elementor's columns gap works, what the pitfalls are, the problems that you might see, and it kind of teaches you just how to approach it. Then there's the actual layout system itself. It is literally foolproof. Do this, do this, do this. I mean, as with all the course, I explain why. It's not a case of just do that and don't ask. I give the reasons exactly why, what the knock-on effect is. There's another lesson, then goes into nested sections. So the layout system is great until you introduce a section inside a section. And it's not as if the layout system changes, really. There's just two extra little things just to bear in mind. You just have to just tweak a couple of extra settings just to make sure that still everything ends, still looks good and the right widths and is aligned properly. Okay, so yeah, we're going to that. Lesson 5 is adapting the system. So in adapting the system, what this is about is, like all layout systems, professional designers since the beginning of time have been using grids to lay out their designs. Now, we don't have such a grid built into Elementor. I know there are one or two extras and add-ons and things. I think, I can't remember what it was, Happy Add-ons, isn't it, that's just come out recently that has this. So we don't basically have a grid built into Elementor anyway. So, but professional designers since the beginning of time have used grids to align and set everything up. But the grid actually gives you lots of creativity. Rather than restricting you, it actually gives you more and more room to be creative, because you can break the system understanding what it is that you're breaking, if that makes sense. So that's the plan. So adapting the system just goes through, it's about 17 minutes, isn't it? Just goes through a few scenarios. It's actually in the course, it's in the header and the footer that we built previously, but it kind of goes through some scenarios in the course about, well, what if you need less of this or more of that, or in different situations. It's often on mobile that there's the issue. So I talk through basically the way that you need to follow. You need to the thought process you need to have in place. It's really simple stuff. It's not complicated. What I pride myself on with my teaching is making it so simple, and kind of making what could be a potentially quite complex topic really simple, so that just anybody can follow it and understand it. Standalone content then. Okay, so what we're doing in these, let's just have a look. What we're doing in these two modules here, module 4 and module 5, these are quite in depth, is I'm basically saying, when you're creating content in WordPress with Elementor or not, it doesn't matter. You are basically creating one of two kinds of content, right? You're either creating standalone content or template-driven content. And I go into in depth into standalone content in module 4, and then in depth into template-driven content in module 5. Now, this stuff is really where we've got at this point, you've got all the foundations. You've got a deep understanding of how WordPress and the theme and Elementor and everything else all works together. And you will be the boss of actually using Elementor itself by now, believe me. So at this point, it's a case of, right, all right, now let's roll our sleeves up and actually make content. This is a real site after all. I forgot to say, sorry. This course is actually, we build a case study website for a client. I mean, it's not a real client, I made them up, but it's like a case study website for a client. So you're actually building a website as you go along. It's not just random, random lessons without application. You're actually building a website all the way from scratch. So, so in standalone content, we actually build the homepage as an example of standalone content. But in this first lesson, I just explained the pros and cons of what standalone content is, when you should use it, when you should not use it, what the difference is between, between standalone and template driven. Generally speaking, most amateur Elementor users tend to create standalone content, or what I call standalone content. It's a term that I've invented, basically, standalone and template driven. But a lot of amateur designers tend to use Elementor in that way. And it is great for some situations, this kind of method. In some cases, you would actually want to do that, but in fact, I would say for 80% of your site, if you're building it all with this kind of standalone method, then you are making life really, really hard for yourself, and you're making maintenance hard for yourself. You're making it hard for your clients, and everything else. So, yeah, so standalone content. This is really, again, it's like almost like an Elementor editor advanced class at this point. Creating those nice kind of full width hero header page sections, and how there's like nested sections and all kinds of things, really, that you can't really tell from the lesson titles themselves. And there's as I go along, there's a lot of kind of tips and tricks as well, like a lot of workflow tips and tricks to speed things up, all kinds of things to do with the clever use of templates and clever use of I don't know, just like widgets and keyboard shortcuts and all kinds of things, really. So all the way through, I'll just gradually just introduce these little tips to you as we go along. Just kind of like gradually introduce them so you can kind of incorporate them into your workflow. One thing that I should say, actually, just before I carry on, you might have noticed already, I'm not sure, but at the end of each of the modules, there's a recap. Now, I just get myself a bit smaller. So the recap at the end of each module, so you'll have like the whole module, all the lessons. The idea is that you work through those to start off with. The recap is then basically like the condensed version of the entire module. So I go through and I pick out the absolute kind of key important points that you that you need to have picked up. It's very, very kind of like bullet point, let me just have a look and see what this is like. Well done so far. Hopefully it's all been fairly. Yeah, so here we go. He's off again. Nice shirt, Dave. So yeah, it is literally just me talking through, what are the options? What are the absolute key things that you needed to have learned? All the things to do with like using fonts and Adobe fonts and Google fonts and custom fonts. So the idea is that if you watch the recap after finishing the module, and there's one for all of these, there's one for module 2 and module 3 and module 4. The idea is that, so like module 4 recap, for instance, the idea is that after you've finished watching the entire module, you've got a chance to kind of watch the important points again. It is very, very much, just like bang, 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 just kind of bullet points. I'll sometimes kind of show you a little recap, little kind of flashback to that bit in the videos as well. So, you can kind of like remind yourself, yeah, it's that bit that we did that thing there. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so here, for instance, kind of just showing you quickly again, just the quick the kind of the quick recap of what it is. Now, I think that is useful for, it's really, really useful for when you finish watching the module, but I think it's actually even more useful for later on. So the idea being that, 6 months down the line, or even 2 months, let's say 1 month down the line, if you've got a brain like a sieve, like I have, you'll be working on a project, you'll be all kind of confident about it. You get to a certain point, you think, hang on, what was it about logos or backgrounds or columns or that layout system or whatever? What I don't want you to have to do is go, oh dear, right, I'm going to have to roll my sleeves up and watch it all again, or just, you know, clicking through all the videos to try and find out what that important thing was. So the whole point of the recap is that later on, you've always got a way to kind of jump in and go, just quick. There you go. You can find the bit that you're looking for. I am going to be introducing as well. There's going to be, it's not in there just yet, but very soon there's going to be a full text transcript of the entire course in one place. So at the moment, let's have a look, like add the logo, for instance. There's a downloadable video transcript anyway, but that's just for each individual lesson. So very, very soon, I'm going to have one for the entire course as well, searchable in one place. So, you know, if you're just looking for, I don't know, a particular word, I can't think of one off the top of my head, nested sections, for instance, you can just type that in and you can just jump to exactly what I told you about nested sections, which is hopefully very helpful. That was a suggestion from students before, and I've incorporated that this time. Module 5 then goes into template-driven content. Now, this is where you really are able to produce websites that are you know, very that can, you're starting to go into kind of the next level. This is all about using Elementor Pro's theme builder to produce all kinds of templates to drive all kinds of content around your site, including like alternatives for different kinds of blog posts and certain kinds of pages and different listings of your blog posts if you're in certain categories and all kinds of things. The next two modules I am about to release. So module 6 is the next level, is about custom post types, custom taxonomies, custom fields, hooks, and all that kind of thing. Again, very, very simple. I'm working hard to make sure that it's really, really easy and practical. Module 7, Go Live, is all about the going live process. It's at that point where you've got to the end of the project. What happens next? What's the order to do things in? What things do you need to remember? What do you need to remember to avoid accidentally breaking your client's SEO and rankings, which, wow, I've seen so many times. I've done it myself. So this is to stop you doing that. Just really quickly as well, also in the dashboard as well, there are some bonus extras. There's a page speed live call that I did. There's a 10-minute CSS crash course. This building a website with Elementor Pro is like a mini course that I created after Elementor just introduced the theme builder. It's a really nice little kind of half-an-hour course to get you up to speed, but actually the main course goes into much more depth. And DNS and domains demystified, people tell me, is as valuable as the rest of the course itself. We've all, as web designers, if you haven't broken your client's site by pointing the domain wrong or using name servers wrong, or you've not broken your client's email, then you're not doing it right, because it is a web designer badge of honor. You've got to break the domain pointing at some point. Anyway, what this little course is, it's really, really quick, but it basically teaches you what I wish somebody had taught me back in 1998 when I started building websites. I wish somebody had told me all this stuff. And a lot of students tell me that it's saved their bacon many, many, many times. So there are going to be some other bonuses in there as well. I've got one planned in here, which is going to be about some like next level kind of like global styling techniques. And I've also got planned, I think, a little thing about design as well. It's not going to be a huge design course, but just some sort of basics, which I think will be useful as well. Also in the course as well, you get access to lifetime access to our brilliant Facebook group. The No Stress WordPress Facebook group has been, I think we've been running since, well, for 2 years now, and it is the support and the encouragement and the ability to get an answer from me or from other students who have already been through the course, or to share experiences, or to just make friends and have a laugh. We recently actually got together, quite a few of us, for an actual proper face-to-face meetup, actually talking to each other in a room in in the Netherlands recently, which was just brilliant. I want to do more of that kind of thing as well, because it's just so fantastic just to actually catch up with people that you've spent a lot of time in this group, So the group is amazing. And you also get a couple of live coaching calls as well. I say a couple. I promised two, but I don't know. I just I like to help. So there may be even more, but there were definitely at least two live coaching calls and sessions with students. So as I say, I think I have remembered most things. If you want to go to No Stress WP, I will just pop that in there. I think it's in the is that right? Yeah, I think it's in the little, description at the top of this event somewhere anyway. But it just explains like everything in detail. It breaks down the modules. There's a whole FAQ about, um, all kinds of questions. If as you're browsing this page and you think to yourself, um, I've got a question that's not answered here. Feel free to click the little chat thing. It's in the bottom. I don't know whether you can see that. We've got a little chat. There's me, there's Vicky as well, of my support team. And we'll get back to you as fast as we can with the answer to the question. Enrollment closes, well, here, 4 days, 11 hours. So I only open the doors for about a week because I just want to make sure that I focus all my attention on all the students that have landed. I'll spend all week supporting brand new students and welcoming them and helping them out as they've got stuck into the course. So there's been well over 100 of them already in the last couple of days alone. So, but it's been brilliant. The course itself. It's nice of Ben Pines from Elementor to say nice things about me. I must remember to send him some cash. I'm joking, of course. So when you come to enroll, basically we've got two ways that you can enroll, that you can pay. So you can either break it down into 3 monthly payments of 197. So that is great if you want to spread the costs, no worries there. If you want to pay it in full and just get the whole thing out of the way, then that is 497. Actually, that is cheaper overall. That actually saves you nearly $100 on it versus paying it in separate monthly payments. But I've had conversations with a lot of students, and they have told me that that investment has paid itself back in like over and over and over and over and over and over again in time saved, confusion saved, frustration, but also being able to take on bigger and better projects because they understand how to use WordPress and Elementor together. And so they've been able to quote much bigger, quote much bigger fees and deliver projects much faster as well. So so that's, but there's all kinds of things on here. We've got testimonials from existing students kind of talking about their experience and videos and all kinds of things as well. So yeah, you can check that out and see what you think. Right, I'm going to take some questions. I think I've covered everything. I'm going to take some questions. I'm going to have a look at your questions first and see what we've got. Let's have a look, Juan. If we need assistance or have any questions, can we talk to you directly? Yeah, of course you can. I mean, actually, if you hit that chat button anyway, sometimes I'm on the live chat myself. It's a bit of a pain with time zones and things like that. You might ask me the question, I might be in bed, and I'm not getting out of bed to answer your question, I'm afraid, no matter what. So, but yeah, you can ask the question in that chat. That goes into our support desk. I often answer the questions, especially if it's more technical. Sometimes if it's more about, I don't know, billing or something a bit more admin, then Vicky, on my support team, will usually answer those. But you can do that. I've had people dropping me messages on Facebook. I've had people, kind of pinging me in all kinds of ways. So however suits you best, ask away. I'm more than happy to answer any questions and explain things. And even, sometimes I've recorded like quick Loom recordings and kind of shown what's happening. So that's that. Let's have a look. Let me see. Don't know if we've got any questions. If you've got any questions at all, fire them away. Just go for it, and I will do my very, very best. It might be that I've done such an amazing job of this presentation that you don't have any questions at all. Which let's have a look. Tommy is one of my students, and I have not paid him to say this, but he said, I've learned a ton of new things. I was a beginner. Now I have built 3 complete sites with very happy clients. As well, I've had the opportunity to play around and develop my skill as a designer. I can recommend to follow Elementor as well. So, so yeah, that's brilliant. So thank you very much for that. Lasso is asking, will any significant issues be posted in the Q&A additional video lessons? I think what you're asking there is that if you've got any questions, I don't actually have the facility to post the questions underneath the videos. I used to, but to be honest, it got a little bit complicated and sometimes things were out of date, but some things had moved on. I don't know. But now it's basically you can ask me directly. We have a dedicated support student system actually. Let's have a look. Can't remember where it is. I won't bother trying to find it now. But we've got a dedicated support system for students, so it's completely separate from my standard email, which is a war zone most days. But we prioritize that so people can ask me directly or can ask in the Facebook group, and there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people in that group who are just really active, which I'm really pleased about. So so let's have a look if we've got any more questions as well. Oh, here's Carol. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you here as well. Carol is one of my students from February 2018, I think, if memory serves. The Facebook community is awesome for answering questions. Fantastic group of highly talented individuals. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself. I love that group, and I'm in it all the time. It's just so great. So very welcoming. How compatible is the course for different WordPress themes? Any that are compatible with Elementor, you're good. I make some recommendations in the course, actually, and I'll tell you what those are right now. I won't go into all the details because it's quite a big thing, but I recommend either GeneratePress, Astra, or the Page Builder framework. I mean, there are loads of them, and if there's one that you like better, go for it. I just find that some, personally for me, I think Ocean WP, there's Flux, is it, with a PH, Flux? There's a few others that to me are just like way too complicated, way too bloated, way too trying to fit everything in, which I just don't like. So, so yeah, let me just see if we've got any others up here as well. I'm just whizzing through. Claire says, happy Halloween. Happy Halloween to you. I was at the shops actually earlier and they were selling these little plastic light up pumpkins. I thought I'd get one and have it sat here on the stream, but I didn't have any money. I'm like the Queen. The Queen doesn't carry cash, and neither do I. Let me have a look, see if we've got any more questions. And a happy Halloween to you as well, Adnan. Nice of you to say. Let's have a look. Whizzing down and making sure with them. Joshol is saying, I have problems with my alt text on images. When I hover over images, there is no image name. There's not supposed to be. The alt text is for computers to read, like search engines or screen readers that people with visual impairments use to read out websites to them. So you're not supposed to be able to like hover over the images and something pop up. It used to be the case back in like Internet Explorer 6, back in the dark ages and days. So I don't know. Mohammed is asking, hey friend, what about Carver theme? I've never used it. I don't know. If it works with Elementor, you're good. Alicia is saying, oh, hi, Alicia. I know you. I'm already in. Alicia joined yesterday. And so far, the course is amazing. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to hear that. And Alan, do you need the pro version of Elementor for the course? That's a really good question, actually. In some ways, I would say yes. Basically, because you're going to make your life really hard. I mean, I do understand that there is a cost involved with Elementor. And if cost and budget is an issue, I can understand that, you know, things like licenses for pro software have got to, I don't know what your situation is and it doesn't really matter, but Elementor Pro just makes everything so much easier. the theme builder feature alone. So you can create, you'll see it if you enroll, you'll see the single templates, the archive templates and everything else. It just is the difference between being able to create professional websites, really fully featured functional websites that would meet any requirement from clients. It's the difference between being able to do that and not, or not, but it's hard work. It's really hard work. So lots of the course is actually just about WordPress, and it happens to be Elementor that's the theme that I'm not the theme. What am I talking about? The page builder that you're using. So I've had a few people ask, can I use Beaver Builder and things like that? And of course you can, because the principle is kind of the same. I do spend a lot of time in this course using Elementor, much more than version 1. Version 2 is far more Elementor heavy. So there's quite a bit of stuff. If you're using, if you're using another page builder like Beaver Builder, well, you just have to kind of just transfer what I'm talking about in Elementor to that. But there's I'd say 60% of the course is irrelevant. However, as I say, I assume that you're using Elementor Pro only because I'll tell you one of the other reasons as well. I'm assuming that you're using Elementor Pro is because it's easier for me. I'll be honest with you. If I'm trying to appeal to people all the time who may have free, may have pro, man, honestly, the flack I get, the stick I've had on YouTube videos, especially some of the earlier ones that I made like 2.5 years ago or longer. The first ones I made when I was very nervous, really didn't know what I was doing, found it very hard to even look at a camera, let alone make a video. The stick I got because I forgot to mention that something was a pro feature and not, and oh man. And so the workarounds you have to put in place sometimes, it's like, well, if you got pro, then you just do it this way, it's easy. If you've only got free, right, okay, now you've got to install this extra thing. So I don't know, you might want to call me lazy maybe, but I also think as well, I think this course is incredible value. I mean, amazing value. The return on the investment will be incredible for you, most likely, if you put the work in. So I kind of think if you're investing in the course, probably investing in Elementor Pro shouldn't be too much of a problem. So, so anyway, I've rambled on about that far too long. Alan says sold. Excellent. We're delighted to welcome you on board, Alan. One thing I will say as well, which I've forgotten to say, and we're going to wrap up really soon because we're getting close to the hour, is that there is absolutely zero risk with this course. We have a 30-day refund policy. The idea is that you enroll, you jump in, you have a look around, watch some of the videos. I'm certainly not saying that, take the entire course or anything, but watch, within reason, watch some of the videos, have a look. You'll soon get an idea whether it's a good fit for you or not. We've had one refund request already from since we opened the doors a couple of days ago, and it's just really nice message. We don't ask for a reason. We don't need a note from your mum or anything like that. It's just literally. But the guy was just like, I've realised actually that I'm quite confident, more confident in more advanced stuff, and I don't feel like I'm going to get the most out of this. And that for his situation was great. It's like, yeah, no worries. Thank you for giving it a go. And it's just an immediate refund. So there is no risk whatsoever. Okay. Elaine. Hi, Elaine. So Elaine is asking, how much CSS do you need to know? You need to know absolutely zero. No CSS knowledge required at all. I do very, very occasionally drop in a little bit of CSS for just some kind of really common little problems. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but I give you the copy and paste and show you how to put it in place and explain how it works and what it's doing as well. So you don't need any CSS whatsoever. I have a plan in some of the remaining lessons to actually introduce some CSS methods for adding better global styling functionality for Elementor as well. But I'll get onto that. But you don't need to know any CSS whatsoever. So so there you go. Okay. Gasper, I hope I spelled it Gasper. I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names. I can barely say my own. I haven't been more excited to give that amount of money to someone. Can't wait. Wow. Oh, thank you, brother. That is very, 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 very much appreciated. I appreciate that very, very much. Okay, we are on the hour, and I'm thinking that that is probably a good time to wrap up because you've probably got things to do. I'm going to go and lay down because it's 9 o'clock here in the UK. It's been a long week, and yeah. So I hope this has been really, really helpful. As I say, you pop yourself to it's at nostresswp.co for all the information. You can enroll on that page as well. If you've got any questions after this, well, either pop them. Oh, it's Gasper. Nice. I thought it might be. Sorry, man. Either pop a comment and tag me in this actual live event if you're on YouTube, or if you are on Facebook. Either of those, just tag me in there, and I will run and answer your question. If it's easy for you to drop me a message on Facebook, I'm more than happy for that as well. And we have a little chat thing, little button at the bottom of the sales page as well. You can click that, and that goes straight to us, and we'll answer that and everything else. So hope that's been really useful, everybody. Thank you very, very much for your time, and I will catch you all soon. See you later, and have a great day. Bye, everyone.